In this example, I will be showing you how to graph a sine curve. The trigonomic function that we will be graphing today is y equals 2 times sine of pi times the quantity of x minus 2 minus 5. Also notice on this slide my reminder of the general term for a trigonomic function. That will come in handy once we determine what a, b, c, and d represent and what that means in our graph. Our first step to graphing this function is to determine what d is, because that will be our center line. In this lovely equation that I have picked to be our demonstration, d equals -5. Notice how it aligns right where our d in the general function is. Because of that, we will graph our center line at y equals -5, which I have done here and is that little red line. Our second step to graphing this function is to determine what our amplitude is. Amplitude is represented by our a in the general function. So if we find that in our written function, a equals 2. Based on that amplitude information, I will be graphing my maximum line at y equals -5 plus 2, which equals y equals -3, which I've graphed here in blue. And my minimum line is y equals -5 minus 2, which equals y minus 7. So I made a little typo here. So instead of equals equals, that should be a -7. But that's okay, because I did graph the line correctly at y equals -7. The third step is to determine our period, which we do by plugging our b into this formula. So our b in this equation will be this pi. So, as I have done over here to the side, your period equals 2 pi over pi, which equals 2. This tells us that we will complete one cycle of the function in 2 units. Our fourth step is to plot the point C, D. So I've done that by plotting 2, 5 right here. In this slide, I've combined the fifth and sixth step just to make it a little easier to follow. Because this is a sine graph, that means that our starting point will be right on the y-axis, so right there, and our cycle is 2 units, so our ending point will be right there where our 2, -5 is. We will have one minimum and one maximum before we reach our 2, 5. So those minimum and maximums are right there and right there. You can also find those by dividing the graph into fourths. So this is the end, this is the beginning, this is the middle, right where it crosses our center line again, and this is our minimum, that is, a fourth, and then this is our maximum, which is the other fourth. After we have connected those dots, we have our sine curve, which is the graph for this function.